Okay. Good morning.
Oh, I always forget. I am on. I am. Did you need me, honey? Okay.
Okay. Your nephew yelling at you again?
Yeah, they're about to go take a trip down to Louisiana. So he was. I'm not sure what he was wanting, but it was. They've been packing and stuff all morning. So
Good morning, Winks. How's New York doing this morning? Hello from Missouri.
Yay! All right, we're on. Hi.
Okay, that's good. Your blood's going to boil here in a little bit, just so you know. I'm just giving you the heads up now. So, yeah, we're gonna get started very quickly. Florida, Illinois, Oklahoma, New Mexico, the land of the aliens. Yeah. Good morning. Yeah. Everybody's. Oh, good morning, Miss Erin.
Oh yeah, it's Good Friday.
Yeah, it is Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't pay attention to the title of the show, did you?
I didn't honestly. I just sort of like. At this point, I'm kind of holding it together with pieces of thread. Just like I think my eyelids are taped open.
Yeah.
But,
if you get a thread and some needle, you can just take care of that.
no, just don't put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Might be what
It's kind of funny when I see ladies who literally pencil in their eyebrows.
Mm-hmm. It's all the rage now.
Yes, it is. That's the sad part. I haven't figured out how it works. Because last time I checked, I can't pencil in hair. Can you make hair by pencil marks? Neither can I.
I'm sure there are girls with that skill, but I don't have it.
Yeah, there are some people that have that skill. No, we're not going down the fashion. No, that ain't happening.
I was going to say, is Jason already on there somewhere yelling at us with that?
No, we are definitely not talking about yoga pants and all that stuff today.
Y'all be careful. Just text me when you get in, okay? All right. Love you. Bye. Eyebrow transplants? You can get eyebrow transplants?
I think it was supposed to be eyebrow, but
uh-huh. How would you even I don't understand how that would work. Like, how would you transplant an eyebrow?
Just actually
follicle?
putting it it's a follicle implant.
Huh.
Yes. Time. No streaking, no yoga pants, no pink shirts, no schmediums.
All right. Schmedium. Did I miss that? Like my last night driving home, my perception was so
small, medium, large, extra large, and schmedium. Jason says.
Oh, gotcha. Schmedium.
Yeah. Okay. So we always and Jason might join us here later. We'll see how his morning goes.
Okay.
It's definitely a Friday, and it is Good Friday, so we're gonna keep it clean. We're gonna try to keep things in good humor, because that's the last thing we need is for people to go to church later on tonight
and be giggling over Johnson & Johnson's latest logo or something. Yeah. Yep.
They call you Triple X. It's just short of Triple XL. Yeah, we could see.
Uh,
Cut the hair from back behind her ear.
yeah, I think like
they
the
took
follicles from it. Yeah.
yep, and then they would have probably implanted it somehow.
Wouldn't that grow like full length hairs instead of braids?
You would think, but I think it really depends on like the dermis.
Okay, wow.
But
If
yeah,
I, if
we see Jason is here.
mhm. If I ever have my eyebrows destroyed by anything, I'm going to make sure that my family knows that along with my, advanced directives or whatever, don't implant hair from any other part of my body into my eyebrows. Just pencil them on if you have to, but I'd rather not. It doesn't seem worth it.
Well, yeah. Some people would probably get wiry hairs implanted somewhere.
I know. So I mean, I guess you know what? We remove hair from all over the body, I guess. I guess if people want to go start putting hairs in spots, they can. I just don't I don't clinically I'm not sure that the benefit really justifies the I can't get behind that one. I can't. But you know what? I guess whoever it is, they're welcome to put hair wherever they want.
Yeah, we're Jason. We're trying to keep this PG-13
Mm,
because if we start going down to the triple X rated stuff, we'll get pretty
X-rated.
yeah. Um, that can be taken so many ways, especially
I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone
yeah.
because I'm not supposed to bring up that kind of humor today.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it clean, Jason. Come on now. But so, how many New Yorkers do we have on here?
I don't know, but Daydream, I do want you to like message me and tell me what the heck those are because I'm really curious.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up something I got sent just before, and I'm sure people. You guys want to get steamed about something? Guys, I mean, if that's the way this conversation goes today, then so be it. But
I know.
we're going to. I am attempting to keep clean.
Yes, we're pretending to be professional today.
But
Oh, okay. So the eyebrows. Okay, okay.
okay, so the New York State Senate. This is a bill that's in the New York State Assembly right now, and it's talking about removing people who are sick or potentially dangerous to public health.
Wow, that's
Could you imagine?
oh,
And right now, it was introduced and it's in committee right now.
I am pretty sure that 150 years ago, whenever someone coined the phrase slippery slope, that is what they were talking about.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm gonna put this in the. I'm gonna put this on the website for you guys as a link to share with your friends. This thing is absolutely an egregious breach of civil liberties.
Mm-hmm. And when they say remove, like, what are they? Where are they proposing to put these people that they're going to remove for the good of the public?
Well, and can't probably in a facility. They don't really say where. They just say remove them from society.
Yeah, I mean, is it like remove them from society, or is it like make them move out of the community, or what? I mean, either way, it's unconstitutional. Either way, it's wrong. But
Well, yeah,
but
and they're trying to pass it in the name of public health.
public health. Mm.
But yeah, FEMA camps are probably going to be what they try to use. You saw that it passed a few months ago. It actually did not. It went to committee. It was introduced. It went all the way up, and then got remanded back to committee. So now it gets to start the process back over. I've never even heard of that movie.
What movie?
Songbird.
Oh no, I haven't heard of that movie.
So
Vaccine cards are not mandatory, correct? I mean, is that just something they're talking about?
that's what they're talking about.
Okay. How would they remove people? These are their taxpayers.
I'm going to address this real quick too. So either military is not mandating it. It is if you are being deployed. I heard that from several National Guard members and several Air Force and Navy personnel as well. Whoever came up with that needs to be removed. Yes.
Yeah. Because I mean, really, isn't that? I mean, there are some very disturbing parallelisms to the population segregation, not according to necessarily color, but in Nazi Germany, where Jews were removed from the general populace for public health and public safety.
There's a book out there, and I think it's actually an interesting title. The title is "How to Kill 11 Million People."
Mm-hmm.
And the whole premise, it's a 15-minute read. The whole premise on it is talking about a disinformation and a lie campaign that is used to dissuade the public. See, everybody talks about how the Nazis took over the government.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. Did you know that? The Nazi Party did not take over the government. They got elected. They actually had elections, and they got elected into power. And then the suspension of civil liberties began.
Yeah, they propagandized their way into it. They got people to voluntarily select them to be their leaders.
Yep. So when people talk about, oh, you have your liberal friends that are like, oh, Joe Biden doesn't mean no harm. Nothing's going to happen. There'll be another election in 4 years. You'll be just fine.
Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that Joe Biden's intentions at this point are somewhat irrelevant. The actual effect of his actions and his policies are bad enough that even his bad intentions are irrelevant. It's just bad. It doesn't matter whether he intended it to be bad or not, which he did.
The road to hell is paved in good intention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
just be.
mhm. Yeah, and as healthcare professionals, we know that you can have good intentions all you want. If you accidentally kill someone, they are still dead.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them not dead just because you didn't necessarily intend that, and you are still responsible for that. And that's a universal responsibility. That's not just limited to healthcare professionals. If you kill someone, be it accidentally or not, it doesn't make them not dead.
And you still open yourself up to a massive lawsuit.
Yeah, yeah.
The window of showing if this shot is effective. Yeah, somebody said that we only we only had like a 60-day window between now and when it has to be proven. Well, that window is shrinking so fast that we don't even know what to do. And now they're starting to freak out. If you were to pay attention to Fox or any of the other mainstream sites, they are already talking about a fourth strain that is so deadly that and so catastrophic that you can't even test for it. You don't even
Yeah,
know if you have it.
yeah, I've heard that. And that's one of those things where, gosh, I've we've got another strain that's so darn deadly, it's so darn catastrophic that no one knows it's there, and you don't see any evidence of it. It sounds like um it sounds
It
like a
sounds
big
like
old flopper designed to just get us to all take the shot.
um, I think Fauci needs to lay off the crack,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, it's just it's so darn stupid
Mhm.
how they still allow Fauci, who is I guess probably one of the most according to all the mainstream, he is the sharpest tool in the shed
He's
when it comes to
sharp.
infectious diseases.
Mhm. He probably is, which means it is exponentially more despicable of him to mislead the public in this way.
Exactly. If he is so sharp, this is this is kind of me going out on a limb. If he is so sharp, why was he so wrong with the AIDS epidemic? Why was he so wrong with avian bird flu or swine flu or SARS-CoV-1? Inquiring minds have to ask.
Right. And again, his I did a little reading up, just some more reading up on the mask use study from 2007, 2008 in the UK with Anthony Fauci, where they determined that mask use is not really effective at um, spreading viruses. Um, and I mean, it was straight up. It's just they said there was very, very little evidence to indicate, little to no evidence to indicate that that wearing a mask in the general public stops viruses or stops the spread of viruses. And then you remember when all of this first came out, way back when this was brand new, what was his stance on it? It was, you don't need a mask. You don't need a mask. Anthony Fauci.
They're not proven to be effective. And then
Mm-hmm.
you look at the fact that he was given over 3,000 shares of 3M stock, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden masks were boom. They are so effective. You have to wear one or two of them.
exactly. Once he acquired a financial stake in mask production and mask sales, all of a sudden it was, no, go ahead and wear a mask. Please do. And then now that, and then he runs what, a 9-month study and is like, oh yeah, you know what? Let's wear two. Let's wear two masks. Because two is better, and it's certainly better financially if you hold shares in the PPE production industry, but it's not actually going to increase the outcome. And it's not going to control the spread of a virus that it was never designed to control the spread of in the first place.
Yeah. Pulled stats from the CDC. Yeah, that we know for a fact that those are way higher. 3.5 weeks behind. That's an understatement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to remember that as long as the CDC, as long as these information public health companies, organizations publish this data publicly somewhere, they have theoretically, legally discharged their obligation to the public to provide accurate information. The fact that they'll publish it somewhere where they know good and well nobody's going to go, nobody's going to look at, and they allow mainstream media to misrepresent those numbers and basically just confabulate the numbers and don't actively correct them on it is irrelevant. They don't have a legal obligation. They have a moral obligation that they consistently do not live up to, but they legally are not culpable when mainstream media lies. And that is where they live, and that is how they protect themselves. The fact that the U.S. public in general will not go to a website and do their own research is what allows them to continue operating like this, in shadows and lies and conspiracy. And you know what? The X-Files had way better plots than this. This is ridiculous.
Sam, go ahead and field questions. I'm gonna look at some test results real quick.
Okay.
So, I'll be here. I'll be listening.
Okay. Yes, Guy Fauci was a part of the CDC study that concluded that masks were not effective. He ran, I think, like a 15-year study in the UK, determined after 15 years that masks were not effective, which isn't surprising considering that the masks, surgical masks, which is what they're recommending, are not designed to prevent the spread of viruses. Viruses are far, far too small to be contained by a weave that is that loose. It is all about the money. I agree. My husband said there haven't even reports of no, there have not in the US. You have to go to foreign news to get that.
Okay, sorry about that. My wife had to have a final set of labs done today because I wanted to make sure everything was trending in the right direction. And she was kind of freaking out. She's like, the HGC or HCG levels are tripling and quadrupling every 2 days, and they're only supposed to double.
Yeah.
She's like, holy smokes. But with multiples, that's going to happen.
Okay, I was going to say, now she's got multiples, so is that...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's happening. Because usually it'll double for every unit or for every fetus in utero, it'll double for each one. Well, for her, it just is jumping really fast. So,
which indicates that you most likely do have 3 viable embryos going. Yay! Good.
So,
and Daydream, I've heard the same thing. I heard Fauci had a hand in creating the COVID-19. I have heard the same thing. I don't know. I don't.
The CDC actually, there is a paper trail with the money. that is specifically tied to the studies on SARS-CoV strains that went to Wuhan. So that NIH and CDC funding was going there for testing and prediction of the next SARS-CoV strain that was going to come out.
And it's my understanding that there is also a paper trail between Fauci and CDC and NIH, correct?
Yeah, it's called his employment.
Well, yes, but I mean, there is a financial.
From Bill Gates and Fauci, there's a direct link as well.
Yes. I meant kind of in the other direction where Fauci funnels funds toward them. So, yeah. So, had a hand in creating the COVID-19. He certainly has documented monetary interest.
Yes.
In that. Yeah. All right. Rockefeller.
Yeah, he wrecked India. He did. Right now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation they are being sued in international court,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just facts. As for international tribunals, I don't. The document that they have put out there for that doesn't track with anything that I've been able to pull from Interpol or other places. So I'm not 100% certain that that's factual.
Mm-hmm. But didn't and this is not the first time Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has been.
No, they were sued back in 2005 for
over the polio.
Ebola and AIDS.
But didn't they also face consequences over their oral polio vaccine?
Yep.
Because it was causing like paralysis, almost as much paralysis as the polio would have caused.
Who owns a coronavirus patent? That is actually co-owned. And we're getting the exact patent number, but it is directly correlated to a company that is owned by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Anthony Fauci.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see what these. Cure for cancer in the 50s, but they paid the person off to be quiet. My understanding is that they the therapy that they had been working on in the 50s that they did have research on that indicated that it was curative was not radiation therapy, but radio waves therapy. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that is actually a factual, and it could work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that yes, that
I hate allergies.
I know. Did you ever get your like Zyrtec or something?
It didn't help.
Did it not? Oh. Try some like, I don't know, guaifenesin or something. Maybe it'll just like thin everything out so it'll fall out of your sinuses. That's not really science, but you know.
So if there's a patent, doesn't mean it's man-made. Yes, you cannot patent something that is naturally occurring.
That's correct. So that means that there is a person who is responsible for the development of COVID because it is patented. So in order to find out who is responsible for the development of COVID, you would find out who owns the patent, and that's the person responsible.
I read some release documents showing the virus was created in one of our military bases, Fort Detrick, one that handles bioweapons, and given to China during Obama's term. Yes. And we have the documents to prove that.
Went through like Toronto, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Handed to Chinese diplomats.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it is a bioweapon. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Guys, the thing about the SARS-CoV-2, which is the underlying cause of COVID-19, it is the underlying disease. When you look at it, and you look at the molecular structure, it is actually a shimera. The S protein on the virus itself has been manipulated and changed. When you see natural mutations over time, it wouldn't just be a single protein that would change. That's it. You'd see multiple things about the virus change. So chimeras are usually easily detectable because it's the only thing that changes. So, yeah.
Time seems to be nailing that one.
Yeah. If I could pull up the documents, see if I have them on this computer.
Squirrely, I, without having any insider information on that, I would think that the most likely progression of events there was they moved it to Wuhan after the university got their check to complete their involvement in the project. I doubt that moral compass really played a part in that. And that is my feeling on it. I do not have any data to back that up at all. But being familiar with, and I don't know, that is my suspicion. That is my suspicion. And it's an unfounded suspicion, but it's based on what we pretty much know of university and their general moral fortitude at the upper echelons of their management. Hi, Jason. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Good. Did Shane just bail on us, or does it only show us two people at the same time?
No,
I'm
he's
still
here.
here.
Okay.
I'm still here. I'm just in the background.
All right. So here is what I understand and where the money has been chased and where everything is going on. I want to say it wasn't Harvard, but it was one of proud. It was a Ivy League college like Harvard. Okay, which one it is, I don't remember. I have to look it up. All right, I have the white documents somewhere on my computer from finding this. There was $4 or $6 million given to the college. It was in development to come up with a vaccine, a solution to the not the bird flu. What was the latest one we had with the mosquitoes? West Nile.
West Nile. Okay.
Okay. With the development on that, they changed it midstream. Okay. And they said, listen, we want take this and move it this way. Gave them another 8 million. All right. When that started to get a little bit out of control for the college itself, all right, in the development and how it was working and everything else, and people started asking questions, they pulled it out of the college, moved it to the military base. Continued development at the military base with government directed funds. The 4 and 8 million or 6 and 8 million was from the Gates Foundation. Okay. Then the military used just regular government money to continue developing it. When that got to a point where it was developing faster than they could control it, and they realized what was going on and where they were producing, they then moved that to Wuhan, moved the Gates money that was left plus an additional 10 or 12 million on top of the US government gave Wuhan, I want to say, and it was all even numbers. It was another like 4 or 6 million on top of the Gates money, on top of what was left from the college, on top of what was left from the government. When the disease made it to Wuhan, they continued developing it. They developed the vaccination for it. And at some point, one of the scientists contracted it. It was purely by accident. This was not planned to come out when it did.
It was a containment breach.
It was planned to come out this year or next year. Okay. One of the scientists contracted the disease, unbeknownst to anybody, made it out, and boom, it took off. Hence the reason why it all came from Wuhan. Now, if you listen to the old Secretary of Defense, Pompeo has the documents prior to the CDC getting into Wuhan University. Okay. When the CDC got into Wuhan University, they pretty much, they had no emails, they had no test data, they had nothing, almost as if the disease was never there. Okay. There were mentions of it in a couple of things, but CDC can't find anything. If you listen to Pompeo, there are documents prior to CDC getting there. And if you listen to his interview on Fox from about, I want to say 3, maybe 4 weeks ago, he legitimately said Wuhan needs to open up all of their data, all of their servers, all of their everything to the CDC. Because what's happened is they've gone in and deleted and tried to clean. There's always forensic data on a hard drive. Okay. And where I'm going with this is you need legitimate forensic, IT, computer forensic people to go in and get into the computers to find this information. There's no one from the CDC that's actually set to do this. They don't have the knowledge, experience, the wherewithal, anything. Okay. To get into the computers deep enough to get those documents out. There is legitimate forensic people that do that. Okay. Part of the problem is Wuhan University has pretty much wiped everything.
And they are not subject to American subpoenas, to American laws, because they are not American.
Correct. With Biden coming in as president, quote unquote, okay, that has released the pressure on Wuhan and China to produce anything. So pretty much they're saying, have a nice day. So that is the very short of the very, very, very long coronavirus story.
Gotcha.
Now, I have these documents somewhere. Where they are, I don't know. I would have to go through all my stuff on my computer. I've got so much open on my computer right now. It's ridiculous. But I've got them somewhere where they actually have a trail of the money, and they actually have the trail of the transfer of the virus itself from point to point to point. They have a chain of custody.
Is that it, Shane? Is that
Okay,
is that
so
the document you're talking about?
DOJ discusses and this is just a tactical intelligence report, and it's talking about the transfer of biological samples as being weapons of mass destruction. That's a thesis of this paper. So go in to, I'm going to share one more thing.
No, when you say that's the thesis of that paper, so that is a theoretical.
No,
that is
it's not theoretical.
that is an
that is
actual.
what they are saying.
Okay. That is a report of what occurred, not what would theoretically occur.
This is the actual charging document.
Lieber, yes, Lieber. That is the name. That's the guy. Because he was the professor at like Harvard who was brought against had charges brought up against him for his being paid by Wuhan University to basically headhunt students at Harvard to then go to Wuhan, right? That he was recruiting them for intellectual property theft. Take the genius, 20-year-old at Harvard, send them to Wuhan, pay them exorbitant amounts of money for them to take both their intelligence, but also their knowledge of ongoing American projects to the University of Wuhan. That's that guy, right?
Yeah, this is a sworn affidavit,
Mm-hmm.
and the affidavit basically goes through it. It's quite a few 35 pages long. And guys, what I'll do is I will put these documents up on the website as well. These are all declassed docs, so I don't have to worry about anybody getting in trouble. So yeah, I have. So one of the guys that I actually glean a lot of information from is about 70 years old. He still works with several Ivy League colleges and pulls information from all of them, and he sends it to me. Yes, I am still congested. As far as a world court, the one thing that I want people to understand is the Hague Court will only be convened in times of war crimes. International court, they're not going to convene to prosecute American citizens. We are actually not a part of the world court.
Well, there's more to it than that, Shane. That world court does not have buy-in for about 40 countries. For it to work, okay, and work correctly, it has to have 100% buy-in from 100% of the countries. When you think about the world court as a whole and what it would be, all right, you would have to legitimately have your what would be in comparison into what we have now in the U.S. You have your district courts, you have your state courts, you have your state supreme courts, Then you have the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay. This would be another escalation point based off of the U.S. Supreme Court. Just like, let's say, Taiwan has their Supreme Court, this would be an escalation point to that. All right. And the only time that the world court as a whole would convene and hear cases would be in cases like the coronavirus. Okay. So you don't have buy-in in a world court right now from Russia, France, US, any of those major players. So the world court can only do so much. Just
They
like
only
the
have
US, right? Just like the US, if we put charges against someone in the US Supreme Court and they're found guilty, and they're in
Pakistan
or whatever a safe haven, let's say Switzerland, right? We still can't go after them. We can't do anything. Yeah, got guilty charges, but it doesn't mean jack squat because the country that that person is in is telling the U.S. go pound sand, right? So it's the same problem with the world court right now. Until it becomes a true world court, and here I am making a circle over here on my desk, until it becomes a whole world court, it doesn't mean jack. And you'll never get buy-in from every country in the world on Earth.
technically, yes. However, due to selective releases of select information, you'll never get the full. You'll never get a full court to convene based off the information that's being provided right now.
So let's just say, all right, let's say we as the world, okay, so let's just say the allied powers, right? They go in and they say, we're going to pull every server, every computer, everything out of here. And we're going to forensically clean it. We're going to forensically check it. All right. And they get it all back and they find every document that they need. Okay. Itself doesn't necessarily care what the allies have to say. They don't necessarily care what the world has to say. They don't necessarily care about anything. So we can do whatever we want, from suing them for financial, for a loss of life, pressing charges against China as a whole for loss of life. It's not going to do any good because there isn't one governing body over all of the countries.
Mm-hmm.
That whole conversation of a single governing body over all of the countries legally is part of the reason why we're all here to begin with. All right. Part of the NWO, the New World Order. Okay. That court system would lead into the New World Order. That's part of the problem with all of this to begin with. And there's so much, in the picture is so much greater than just having the conversation about whether or not we can press charges against China.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like I said, warning, I'm coming in hot. A lot of stuff on this, and I've done a ton of reading on this. I've done a ton of investigations on this. Guys, we're pretty much SOL
Mm-hmm.
until there's one governing body legally.
Yeah. And the advantage of having the one governing body would be they would potentially have these go in and pursue something like this. The disadvantage of the one governing body is the massive
Absolutely.
yeah.
No
No civil
there's
liberties would be gone.
So you got to
Cyber
break it out. You got to break it out to really be what it is. Okay.
Mhm.
You have a legality governing body, and you have a governing body.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So when I talk about that, it's two different things. All
Okay.
right. So if you have a legality governing body, right, your laws would have to then match everywhere. Your base of law.
Hmm.
So let's say the first law is no theft, right? And let's say India chooses not to agree with it. Well, now India is a safe haven for world theft.
Hmm.
All right. So you would have to literally go to every single country: Greece, Italy, France, India, Syria, Ukraine, everywhere, and get buy-in to no theft.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's say we get no theft, right? But now bioterrorism. Now I know I just took it from here, just way up here. I mean, way escalated it quick, right? You've got people out there in Iran. You've got people out there in Syria, in Iraq, Libya, all those type of countries that are developing things. Okay, consistently developing things. They're not going to agree to it. They're going to have a nice day. Okay, so again, it's such a hard thing to try and control. The U.S. Yes, we have power. We have a lot of power, but so does Russia. So does China. So does a lot of other places. So what are we going to do? We're going to go attack China because they released something that we developed over here to begin with?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's you're in such a catch-22 right now that, okay, so let's say we go in, we get all the information from China, right? And we prove that China had the China virus, the Wuhan virus, the COVID virus, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Let's say we've got all the documentation. We go and attack China. Let's say Biden is straight up a true patriot. Guys, I know you're all going to jump down my throat. Just hear me out on this, okay? Let's just say Biden is a true patriot, okay? And he's there for the American people. All right. I don't agree with it, but whatever. Let's just go with this. And he attacks China because we have papers saying that it came from China. And it's a bio attack, right? Now, China releases all the information that leads back to the U.S. Plus, China now defends themselves militarily against their attack. Okay? And then they release their documents, their white paper saying it came from the U.S. It was developed in the U.S. Now you've got every other country in the world who's got problems with coronavirus looking at the U.S. going, you're a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah. We're complicit. We are complicit, and we can't really pursue that. We are complicit.
Right. We are in the worst catch-22 we could ever be in right now. So, like I said, there's quite a bit of information, a ton of white paper, a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of this, a lot of that. But simply put, once you really start chasing the money, you're not going to get the actual emails from Bill Gates saying, I want this developed. But when Bill Gates gives X college millions of dollars from through the foundation and keeps going, then you've got a completely different ballgame. So, sorry, I didn't mean to take over your two's conversation, but I wanted to make sure I got out this because for me to try and type that out is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm glad you did. This is great. Good. This is good information.
So, sometimes I think we need to have a Jason show.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I have not looked at a single comment about anything I just said. Did you guys?
I did a little bit, but it seems to be I think you've addressed most of it. There's a lot of chiming in of yes, that's the case. There's let's see, Bob. They were acting under Fauci, Bill Gates, George Soros Foundation, who's paying the bills for the lab in Wuhan, China. Yes. Dr. Fauci, Bill Gates, and George Soros got some money from the United States government, but the USA had no idea they were paying the lab in Wuhan to weaponize the virus for a bioweapon. I don't know that that's true. Honestly, my feeling on it, my gut feeling on it, which is again, it's completely I don't have any data to back this up, but my gut feeling on it is that we as our leadership did most likely did have a good idea that this was being done.
It
I
was
don't
it
think
was
that
being done. It was being done at the highest levels of government.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's buried in more bills and the funding and all this stuff. People knowing about this funding has been buried in these bills for decades. They've been
So
doing this for years.
that brings
Yeah.
back a whole other conversation, a whole other statement that I've made earlier. And that is when these bills come out, they're hundreds, if not thousands of pages long. More often than not, they'll take this much of it, okay, so a paragraph, descripting whatever anybody wants to know, okay, or wants anybody else to know. And what I mean by that is they'll do a thesis, or not a thesis, overview of the bill, and they'll give out this much information of what's actually in the bill in a paragraph that's this long on a bill that's 1,000 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody like, oh yeah, that's a great deal. That works for everybody. Blah blah blah. Yep, I vote for it.
Yeah, when you got it.
What they're not understanding is there's parts in that bill that when those bills don't get read out loud, that nobody knows where this money is going. Okay, just like with the American Rescue Plan. All right. We bought and paid for bridges in California and New York and paid off some debt that Pelosi has in California. Okay. If you did the simple math of what the American Rescue Bill or plan really was, all right, and you put that to American people and American businesses, let's just say you did split it 50-50. 50% of that money goes to the businesses, 50% goes to the people. Our stimulus checks would have been somewhere around $6,700 instead of the $14.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I did that math.
about where the rest of that money goes. Okay, unless you take the time to read the bill and comprehend the terminologies that they use, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And it's a major problem that's been going on in Congress for years, tens of years, 20, 30s, tons and tons and tons of years.
For our lifetimes, certainly.
Absolutely. It's been going on really, honestly, probably since the 50s.
It's been going longer than that. There were bioweapon experiments that were happening back in the early 1900s.
I was going to say World War One.
Before then, even.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, yeah, it would have to be before then because think about all the stuff that came out.
Sarin gas was first used in World War One.
Yeah.
Think about all the bio weapons that came out in Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
Korean War.
Well,
So,
Korean War was between World War One and World War Two.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they didn't just make that shit up on the spot. They've been working on that for a while. They employed it during those situations.
Right. So
yeah, there are a lot of presidents before even Trump that were complicit in the manufacture and sharing of the technology to build bioweapons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
The
it
only
really-
one that I don't know, I can honestly say I don't know, had a part in any of that would be Reagan. And I
no, there
I don't
was some there were some that were actually developed under Reagan. It's again, it's one of those things where the funding and all that stuff is built into the bills, and unless you read all 1,000 pages, you'll never know.
Yeah, and I think they deliberately write bills whose wording is so voluminous that the Cliff's Notes version of the bill is going to be a number of hundreds of pages to ensure that no one is going to read that bill.
that's why that senator made them read
Mm-hmm.
the American Rescue Plan. And it was 10, 12 hours or something like that of reading,
Yep.
word for word, but no definitions in any of it either.
Mm-hmm.
Took the verbiage that's in that and put it into layman's terms because that's the reason why they write it the way they do.
So it's not understood by the average American people.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And Cat 6, yes, there have always been evil people, but they used to hide it. Now they don't care. Yeah. That's
Because they've been getting away with it.
yeah, they've gotten away with it for so long that we've gotten to the point where there are enough safeguards in place for them that they can pretty much conduct themselves however they want without any repercussions, and they know it at this point.
Right.
They just don't care.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. They don't care, and it's just the way it is.
I'm gonna guess and say this person's username. It says FLXCRZ01. Florida Exercise. I'm hoping. I just want to make sure I don't butcher a name. The weather weapons, that brings a whole complete other conversation in. So this last winter, all right, I live outside of Chicago. We had, out of 12 days, 11 days of snow. We had 52 inches of snow on the ground. The snow that was on the ground, when it melted, actually rotted part of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not normal. Okay. Now, granted, 52 inches of snow is a lot of weight, but grass always recovers from it. I've got patches in my yard now, molded, dead grass and dirt that is going to have to be tilled up and reseeded. Okay. There are other issues of fallout that's came out. I'm going to tell you honestly, I have seen more dead birds. Now I've got 1.5 acres. Okay. I've seen more dead birds on my yard this year than I ever have. I mean, we've probably picked up 10 to 20. So I can't tell you exactly what all that means. But what I can tell you is it's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
So am I coming in hot? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of facts and a lot of information on this. So much it freaking surprises me whenever I can spit them all out. But I can tell you the weather crap that's going on is absolutely ridiculous. Never in this early in April am I seeing 5, 6, 7 days of 70 weather. Now, I'm not complaining, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. But
You're just using it as an excuse to get your wife on board to get your pool going. Don't lie
no,
to us.
she chewed into my ass last night about buying that truck and the pool and everything else. She goes, listen, we've got enough money. You could buy that truck cash. Why don't you just do that instead of getting a loan? Because I want the pool done. All right, well then get rid of your motorcycle. Let's get the pull done. I don't know about all that. Okay, well hold off on getting the boat done. Sorry, I've got plans. So, long story short, there is a lot with that's going on, but there, there is so many changes this year alone. Okay, it's careless. You're going to see this weather coming your way probably in the next 3 days in New York. So, but there's so many weird things that's happened, strange things that are way outside of the norm for weather patterns this year, that without having black and white proof, it would not surprise me that they've got weather controlling stuff.
Yeah, I do think that there is an increased push to control the agricultural potential of the country. Secondary to that, let me ask really quick: has anyone else noticed in the past about 2 years? Have you noticed if you buy potting soil, like bagged potting soil from Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever? Have you noticed an incredibly high tendency for that soil to grow molds?
Yes.
I think the potting soil is whether it's contaminated on purpose or just out of carelessness. I think our potting soil, the commercial potting soil, is being contaminated.
It's not just the potting soil; it's the seed starting soil too.
Is it okay?
I bought
I've
4
noticed
bags. I bought 4 bags of just the soil, not the pods. Okay, for seed starting, and my seeds are taking off great. All right, I've got plants that are already like this big. They took off great, but the problem is that it is molding already. So I've got to take those plants out from the dirt that they're in and completely transplant them into different dirt.
Yep, that's what I have had.
Roots and all.
Yep, take them out, wash them, and put them in a new. Yep. Last year I thought it was a fluke. I thought, gosh, what am I doing wrong? I've got some sort of fungal contaminant in my growing area that must be infecting my soil. This year, 2 years in a row, not after the cleaning that I did last year. That is the soil itself that's being contaminated.
If you notice, the stuff that you buy that's already pre-grown, the plants that are actually alive, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, whatever, all right, or in Shane's case, save big money. But he's not paying any attention. He's just staring away.
No, I'm trying to see what's going on upstairs.
Anyway, those, even if you take the dirt and you plant that directly in the ground, never a problem. Not once.
Nope.
You're right. It's the bagged soil. That's a problem.
It is a problem. It is a problem because it is my theory. It is an attempt to undermine the ability of the kind of grassroots American, going to go out and start your own garden kind of person, from gaining some sort of food independence, gardening independence. I think it's an attempt to sabotage that. And in Michigan for a while, I think it was last year, wasn't Michigan was disallowing people to plant their own gardens.
They were, but the reasoning behind it was the water. Because Michigan has so many problems with their water and water quality. When people would go and water their gardens, their plants were being killed, or the ones that would go to fruit or vegetable would have issues.
So they didn't have a problem with people drinking that water. They just had a problem with the people putting that water on their plants.
Right. Just like the fracking stuff and everything else. And whenever you actually check that water, that water was so contaminated.
Oh yeah, the runoff from the fracking. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the fracking, and even in, like, you've got all the slurry ponds that are all contaminated. I mean, it's just.
So my suggestion, and this is only mine, and I will try and get downstairs to show you guys what's going on with my plants right now. But my plants are taking off. I keep them at a certain temp, water them a certain way, and I keep them under a growing light.
Mhm,
All right. That's the only way I've been able to get them going this year.
The only success I've really had, good solid success I've had this year with my seedlings, like they'll come up beautifully. They'll get to be about that high, and then they start to mold. And I've found that instead of using the commercial potting soil, like I've got bags of it in my garage. I'm not even opening them. I'm just going outside, scraping the half inch of topsoil that we've got on top of this Tennessee clay pan, scraping that off, mixing it with a little bit of sand, and using that as my potting soil. It's not as comfortable an environment for the seeds, but the seedlings don't rot.
Well, the other thing that you can do is you can bottom water.
Mm-hmm.
That will help the seedlings themselves.
Yes. Now I've got actually, I have bottom waterers, like planters that are set up for bottom watering, and even those, because I had put the commercial potting soil and like growth pods and things in those, and even those were just, it was terrible. There was mold everywhere. I was going, what the heck?
My fig trees have. I've got 2 pots with fig trees that have got mold real bad.
Mm-hmm.
And turned up the dirt real good. I dug up the fig trees themselves, turned up the dirt real good, replanted them, and so far so good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I ended up doing in a couple of them is, so I was looking around. I've got some fungicide, which I'm not really fond of using a fungicide, but I had the organic, like the copper-based fungicide. And I couldn't find it. And I was looking around the other day, and I realized I had like a drawer full of pennies. And I took some pennies and I just stuck them down in there, because I was like, it was going to cost me 10 cents to put 10 pennies in here. Around where the penny, like I stuck the penny in the dirt, there's a patch that has almost no mold on it now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I would have to put a penny down with every single seedling, which isn't expensive, but it's on the labor. I mean, I don't want to go through 200 seedlings and put pennies next to every one of them. I would very much like my potting soil to be like contaminant free.
Right. Where'd Shane go?
Oh. I know, our gardening. Yeah, we are.
Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go get some more work done. I wanted to get on and get that information for you guys. Sorry I came on and kind of took over a little bit, but we can go into the rest of this at another point.
Yeah, and time flies when you're having fun, or bored,
or when time talks too much.
What's that?
I said, or when time talks too much.
No,
time's
you
been
guys are going back and forth, so I just bowed myself out. Did some stretches. There we got the glutes go. Got the brains working a little bit better.
All right, I'm gonna step away. You guys finish up what you got to finish up. I got to get some more work done. Take care, everybody. Possibly see you tonight. I got a couple things I got to get done, but we may see you guys tonight.
Okay. Bye.
Oh boy. Now I'm on the spot for doing it tonight too. We'll see.
I thought was tonight that it was Saturday that we're just going to do the morning one, right? So you're just doing a morning show. Okay, good. Yeah, because it's Easter weekend. I mean, it's Easter weekend. Take some time for your family.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan. I wasn't planning on doing a night show tonight.
We don't have to. Honestly, again, it's Easter weekend.
Yeah. My plan guys, quite honestly, I have a job to do, and then there's church this evening, and I'm just I was just more along the lines of, you know what, let's get some, just go have a little bit of fun. And quite honestly, guys, I don't know nothing about gardening. I'm about as dumb as a post when it comes to gardening. I know you put a seed in the ground and water it. That's about it.
Mhm.
As far as molding, as far as all that, not a clue.
Yeah. Yeah. I think now that time's gone, we should be like, Dad's gone. Let's change the plan. Let's not do the thing tonight. Let's just
Oh,
take.
he's probably listening, but
Oh, I'm sure he'll let us know if he is.
yeah. No, and guys, so what I do know a little bit about is making jerky and smoking meats.
Mhm. I started making jerky this year. Keep going. I'm sorry. That was my selfishness. Go tell us.
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna send this to myself and pull it up on the screen because not everybody is into gardening, aka Shane. But I do have a love for when it comes to cooking outdoors. That is more my passion.
You killed succulents. Ah. You know what? I've killed succulents before. It's easier than it is supposed to be. Ooh.
Right there is 5 pounds of meat.
Mm-hmm. You know that's going to be like a half pound once you dry it all out, though. That's the only thing about jerky. I'm like,
Yeah.
now I understand why it's so expensive. Now. But it's good. It's worth it. And here's the thing: commercials jerky. It's cured with the nitrites and the what is it? Sodium nitrite and the phosphate nut.
Mine is not. I do a natural jerk pack.
Exactly.
Like salt and
Mhm.
grass fed. I wish. I
That's that price point.
I'm not rich enough to have grass fed beef. I wish.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what my wife did last night was she went and grabbed sandwich steaks and a roast, and we cut that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some London broils, and the like. You can get a really cheap cut of meat, and if you slice it very thin, it's not. Honestly, if you're making jerky out of it, if you're slicing it thin, it doesn't matter what the cut of meat is. It's all going to have relatively the same consistency when you're done. So get something that's
Well, a roast when you're cutting it, you're
Mhm.
not going to get the same consistency every single time,
Mhm.
but it does work quite well.
Mhm. Well, I guess it depends. I guess if you're cutting with the grain or against the grain, because I know there are jerkies where they're like cut this one with the grain, and then other ones are like cut it against the grain. I always cut against the grain because I want like little tiny. I don't want the long stringy jerky. I want my jerky to be against the grain.
So do you use a dehydrator or you smoke it?
I don't have a smoker. I have a dehydrator that's still in the box that I really need to get out and explore. I've learned how to do it in the oven. I literally dry it in.
We're gonna have to have a little chat then.
Am I doing it wrong?
What?
Am I doing it wrong? Or you're not supposed to do it in the oven? Because I've eaten like.
Well, some people do, but I mean, I've found that if you're gonna do it in the oven, do it in a dehydrator before you do it in the oven.
Okay. Well, yes. the reason that I bought the dehydrator, I was like, I'm gonna dehydrate some jerky, and then I was like, you know what? I need to learn how to do this like really low tech way, so that I
Yeah.
can learn the method. And I don't want to. I'm not so low tech that I go outside and build a fire, because I'm not that girl. But I thought, start small, learn how to do it in the oven that way, because the point of me having this skill was not just to make some great jerky, but it was to learn how to preserve meats in a very low tech environment. And I wanted that skill. So I was like, I'm going to put it in my oven, see if I can make it that way. And so that's what I've been doing. And it turned out pretty good. And I was like, hey, I'm going to keep doing this. So I've made a lot of jerky. I'm currently out of jerky because my nephew came over and he took home all
He
5
stole all yours?
bags of jerky.
He stole all your jerky?
Yeah, he did. He stole all my jerky.
Yeah,
He's like,
that's a crying shame.
Yeah, he's 15. This is a different nephew. He's 15. He loves jerky, and I'd made some sriracha jerky. I made a Dijon mustard jerky. I made just some basic like teriyaki soy sauce jerky, and I made some plain Jane salt and pepper and garlic and onion jerky. And and I made one with hot pepper flakes on it, just plain old, spicy hot pepper jerky. And it was really good. It was really good. And I was so excited. And he came over and he was like, oh my gosh, this is good. I was like, yeah, you can take some home. And so when he was leaving, he's like, bye, I took some jerky. I was like, okay. And so a couple hours later, I go to the cabinet and I'm like, oh, he took all the jerky, all of it.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the one that I bought all the strawberries from. I mean, he is very accustomed over the course of his entire lifetime to have complete and unfettered access to all of my resources, no matter what they may be, with no consequences for raiding or plundering them at all. And that's my fault as much as actually that's just my fault. But yeah, he's the one that I bought like almost $400 worth of strawberries from for his school fundraiser. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah. You did.
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yep. Yeah.
But guys, as much as I would love to continue, this time is coming to a close very rapidly.
Mhm.
We've had a fun time today. We will do a show tomorrow in the morning, and then after that it'll be Monday from there on. So you guys have a pen and a microphone. Use them. The silent majority can no longer stay silent. God bless y'all. God bless America. And have a good Easter weekend.